Today I'm starting a new series, Lessons with Lemmon. This will be episode 1. And in this lesson, I'm going to review the 9 holes that I played last week on the video. I'm going to put a link in that down here if you haven't seen that already. I'm going to review each shot. I'm going to go hole by hole, each shot. I'm going to discuss what I did well, what I did not do well, what I could work on, how I could have improved and lowered my score. Now, these lessons will be similar to the lessons that I give on Zoom and also one-on-one in person to my students. So let's get started. 10th hole, par 4, 300 yards. I decide to take an aggressive line and take driver. And the issue with that is I needed to aim much farther to the left. It looks like there's trees on the left, but it's actually kind of open up over there. And the problem with hitting driver from these up tees is if I hit it down over to the right, it brings the hazard into play. So I should have either aimed left farther or at least hit, maybe I could have hit a 4-iron or maybe a 4 hybrid or a 3-wood to lay up on this hole. So I hit it up over those trees, down the hill, and it's hard to see. I wasn't sure from my tee shot where it went, but it ended up down in the hazard. So now I've got to take a drop, and after the penalty stroke, I'm hitting my third shot in, which I'll be hitting with a gap wedge, and it really isn't a bad swing. The ball's below my feet, and I just catch it a little bit thin, and it ends up bouncing over and rolling back over the green. It didn't go in the bunker, which was nice, but it still ended up over the green. So I've got kind of a tricky shot in here. The ball's lying down. I end up hitting a decent distance, but I do pull it left, and it's actually not as bad as it looks like on the camera, but it does roll by quite a bit. And now I've left myself with right around 10 feet in for bogey after the penalty stroke. So this is my full putting routine. I mark the ball, clean the ball, line the ball up, stand behind the ball, visualize the line. I come up next to the ball, I take a practice stroke, and I look at the hole, and then I step up with one last look and hit the putt. And this really wasn't a bad putt. I just kind of misread, and it went a little bit to the left. The next hole is a par 4 measuring about 350 yards. So I'm aiming down the left side, taking driver off the tee. This one I did, I think, a really good job. I had a good aiming point. I picked the right club. It's pretty open to the right. I hit an okay drive, ended up to the left. Now the cool part about this this hole is I ended up hitting the same exact shot that I had a couple weeks before. In fact, I will show you, here's the shot that I hit a couple weeks before. I had a 4-iron punch shot, and I hit it pretty poorly if you guys have seen the other videos. And it ended up way out to the right and ended up making like a 6. Now today, I didn't want to do that. I had to hit a nice low 4-iron, and I remembered what I had done the time before. I wanted to make sure I hit it a little lower and hit a little bit of a draw on it. And I hit a really good shot. In fact, this is definitely, or it's got to be one of the best shots of the day for sure. I had a narrow opening. I've got the tree to the left. There's a bunker on the right. And I hit that nice 4-iron from about 130 yards and knocked it up on the green. And in fact, I've got about 20 feet or so in for birdie. Now on this putt, you'll see I get in my routine. I'm ready to hit the putt. But then it's either the wind, there were some leaves kind of blowing across the green as well, and the flag was bothering me. And so I was ready to go, and then something startled me and got in my head. So I reset myself, sat down, did my pre-shot routine, and ended up hitting a pretty decent putt. I ended up leaving it about 4 feet short. Now, the nice thing about this is I realized that I needed to take my time on this putt, pull a couple things out of the way. I marked the ball. I lined it up, even though this is just a 4-footer. I didn't just go up there and just try to swipe it in. I used my full attention on this putt, lined it up, did my full pre-shot routine like I always do, and adjusted my hat because of the wind. And then I hit a really good putt and knocked it in. So this hole is a par 3. It's about 165, 170. And I'm going to hit into the wind, so I'm going to hit a 4-iron. I'm going to try to knock down a 4-iron and hit it low. My issue there is I needed to aim much farther to the left. And I kind of fanned this out to the right. Now the distance was good, but as you could tell, I really pushed it out there to the right side. And end up with this kind of a goofy lie here with that flower bed. The bricks there are kind of in my way, so it kind of messes up my stance. But I take a couple practice swings. I've got kind of a difficult up and down with the pin right there. Hit a good shot, chunk it just a little bit, and if you look, I mean, from the other side, if that goes another yard, that's like an absolutely perfect chip shot. So I decide to take putter on this, because like I always tell all my students, a bad putt is always better than a bad chip. And I hit a pretty good putt in. It kind of bobbled a little bit, I think, coming out of the fringe, and I didn't quite have enough on it. So anyways, I tap that in, and we're on to the next. This hole is a par 4. It's measuring about 325 from the up tees that I'm playing today. I take driver. I don't hit my best drive of the day, and as you'll see that I only have about 106 in, but I hit this off the toe, kind of hook it a little bit down to the left, but I have a free open shot into the green. So I was deciding on what to hit here. 110 is usually my gap wedge, and so I hit gap wedge. I catch it a little thin, and the wind kind of pushes it back over the green. So now I've got a chip shot in. On these chip shots, I'm always trying to make them. I'm visualizing rolling the ball down. I'm hitting about an 8-iron chip shot, and I roll it down there, and it's actually pretty good. You can see there's mud on the ball, so it didn't get down there quite as close as I'd like. Now on this putt, I come up to the putt. I'm going through my full routine. As you can see, the wind's going crazy. I'm ready to take the putt, but the wind just keeps blowing my hat off. And so I decide to just throw my hat down and reset. And then I go ahead and putt. And man, this was close. I just missed it. Or the wind kind of pushed it out to the side. So I go ahead and tap in for bogey, and we're on to the next. This is a par 4, 330 yards around the corner. And the issue that I did here, I did not do a good job of my course management on this. I shouldn't have taken driver here. I should have laid back with either a 3-wood or a 4 hybrid. Now I hit a good drive. The problem is it's a little right and it's quite a bit long, and so what ends up happening is I'm over down in this waist area where the grass has been mowed because it's not winter, but the grass is behind the ball and it just has a really tough lie. So I'm hitting an 8-iron in here, but I just can't really get at the ball very well, and I pretty much chunk it. I mean, it was a good swing. It's just the ball was hitting down in that lie very difficultly to get out. So, all right, now I've got 85 in. I'm hitting a sand wedge, and I was pretty proud of this shot. I hit a good shot here, especially after the shot before. It goes a little long and a little left, and it's just past the pin and off the green. Now again, on this chip shot, when I'm hitting these, I am focusing on holding this. I'm looking for it to roll, I'm looking at my spot on the green, and I am picturing it going in the hole. And I really like this chip shot. I hit it, and it was just a little bit short, but ended a couple feet away. Putting with a wedge is a very risky move, and I do not suggest doing this, especially if you're playing in a match or for some money. Par 3, 160 yards, I'll be hitting a 6-iron into this green. And it's into the wind, and I'm aiming a little bit left because the wind is left to right. I take a pretty good shot, or a pretty good swing at this. It's a pretty good shot. It does end up going just a little bit to the left, and I end up catching that tree. It's really not too far off of where my line is. This is a really tough hole with that tree there. But I catch that tree. It bounces back about 20 or 30 yards. So now I'm left with a pretty difficult chip shot into the green. It actually is a lot tougher than it looks on TV here. I've got to hit it low. I've got the tree branches there, and I've got to hit it long. And I hit it pretty good. In fact, if I hit it about 2 yards to the right, the ball probably bounces down closer to the pin. So I'm left with about 16 feet for par. I get a good look at this. I've got a good line on this. I'm excited to hit this putt, taking that one last look before I hit it, and I put a really good roll on this ball, and it almost goes in. So close. But either way, good putt, nice tap in. So we got the par 4 16th, 340 yards, and I do not play this hole very well. One of the first things to mention is I did play 18 holes this day, so I've played 15 holes. I'm getting a little tired. But the big thing is not so much the club selection. I mean, I could have taken a 4-iron and laid back, but I really didn't focus on this shot. I didn't pick out the best target, and I just didn't have my mind right when I hit this shot. And it ends up to the left. I pull it left, and the big issue here is it goes all the way down, and it ends up in the hazard. So I've got to take a drop. Now the funny part is I do find 3 pretty nice Pro V1s while I'm down in there, but I take a penalty stroke, so my third shot is back up this hill. Now what I did wrong and what I could have done better was get a better yardage in on this green. You can't see the pin from where the ball is, but I needed to take my rangefinder, walk 20 or 30 yards back, get a good yardage to see exactly where this pin is, and I think I would have had a little better idea of how far I need to hit this shot. Now I picked pitching wedge, which I thought would be a good shot, but I absolutely blasted it, and it ends up going quite a ways over the green and gets me into a bunch of trouble. I'm left with this difficult chip back up to the green. And the real issue is I just don't have a good mindset. I'm kind of scared of this chip. I'm not trying to hole it. I'm not trying to get it up close. I'm just kind of hitting it. And instead of accelerating through the chip, I decelerate and I end up chunking it up into the hill. Now this next shot, I do basically the same thing. I don't have a good mindset. I'm playing defense instead of offense. I'm not looking at the hole. I'm not trying to hole the shot. I'm just trying to hit a chip shot somewhere up on the green, and it ends up with a very poor result. And it's all because of the way my mindset was and how my thinking was as I was hitting the shot. Now the putt, I basically do same thing here. After a couple of bad chips, I didn't even pull the pin out, which I normally do. I look at the hole and I just don't give it a very good stroke. And I end up with a triple bogey after this tap in on this hole, and it's all because I didn't have the right mindset. And here I start making good decisions. I grab a power bar to give me some energy to get me through these last few holes. Properly fueled, I use the long walk from the 16th green to the 17th tee to shake off all those bad shots and focus on the next shot in this hole. It's a par 5, but it's the #1 handicap and can be a very difficult hole, especially if you have a bad tee shot. So here I am, I'm hitting driver, and I don't hit the best drive, but I leave myself a chance, and I know that it's going to be a 3-shot hole no matter what. To show that I've shaken off the bad shots from the last hole, I look in the camera and make fun of myself as I ask everybody to like and subscribe to the channel. Laughing at yourself is always good medicine. You never know what's going to happen. So I've got over 300 yards in and I'm hitting a 3-wood. I know that I'm not going to get to the green, but I want to hit a solid shot left of the tree and leave myself a decent approach in, especially into this stiff breeze. I set up and hit a really good 3-wood. You could tell I really went after that one. I've got 120 yards left, and I decide to hit a nice knockdown 8-iron. With all the wind, I want to make sure I take the spin off of it. I don't want this to balloon and spin off because the green is sloped from back to front and left to right, and I will leave myself the best shot in I can possibly have. I hit a great shot, very proud of it. I'm up on the top level, and then I've got a nice chip for birdie. Now, this chip I really wanted to make. I was focusing on this, looking at the hole, visualizing it going in, and I hit a great shot. And at about this point, I thought it went in, but I just misread the break. The nice part about running this chip past is that I realized it did not break as much as I thought, and it was definitely going to be more of a straight putt. So I picked out a nice line, a little bit right center, and I set up and hit a nice putt. Because I had this perfect line, I hit the putt right in the jar for par. Last hole, par 4, just over 300 yards, and I'm going to hit driver. I pick a good line down the left side with the wind going left to right. I take a nice swing, and I hit it down. I hit a pretty good drive. It's not my best drive, but I hit one nicely down the left side and leave myself a chip shot of about 40 yards in. Now it's a little tricky chip shot, and it's a little tough to see here, but there's a bunker in front of the green, so I want to make sure I get it over the bunker onto the green, but I want to miss the branches of this tree. So I chip with a pitching wedge and hit one of the best shots of the day, considering the circumstances. The last thing I wanted to do was short side myself and leave it short. I've got about 40 feet left for birdie on this par 4 with the American flag waving in the background. I pick a good line and hit a nice putt, and in fact, with just a couple feet left, I really thought I made this for birdie. It just rolls by and gives me about 3 feet left for par. But I take my full putting routine, pick up a few things out of the way, and take my full putting routine because I want to make sure I focus on this just like I would on any other putt, and tap it in for par. This concludes Lessons with Lemmon, Episode 1. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Please hit the like button, subscribe to see more videos, and if you're looking to improve your game, check out CoachLemmon.com. I do one-on-one Zoom lessons and everything about mental performance to help you improve your game and lower your scores. Cheers, everybody.